Welcome to another St. By Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the St. By Night Twitch channel, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness Chronicle set in St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent, but you shouldn't go follow me. What you should do is go follow St. By Night on all of these lovely social medias listed down below, or even better than that, if you haven't done so already, you should come join our community. There is a Discord link listed down below where you can sign up for one-shots or maybe even join a table of one of the following settings: Vampire the Masquerade, Hunter the Reckoning, and coming soon, Werewolf the Apocalypse. But Werewolf is what we're all about here on Tuesday nights, because this is Rage Across Tampa, our long-running Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, entering its 21st episode tonight, which I could never have imagined in all my days that we would make it this far, let alone have such an amazing story with such an amazing group. Speaking of that amazing group, let's go ahead and say hi to them now. Players, say hello and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hey everybody, my name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Arun of the Gale Stalkers.
Hey everybody, I'm Champagne, the guy with the scissor hands, Rick Snip, whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Weiss, Philodox of the Silver Fangs.
Hello everybody, I'm Nori, and tonight I'll be playing Malicious Jester, the Black Fury Galliard.
Hi everyone, I am Simon. I will be playing Joseph, Ash Speaker, the Theurge from the Ghost Council.
So, our group's been through quite a journey so far. They've made new friends, they've made new enemies nearly becoming friends before losing their lives in sacrifice in a hope to regain honor. This caused quite a bit of a conflict between the pack, but after Jester paid her penance and has begun her road to redemption, being the ever faithful member of the pack to the Sept, the newly burgeoning Sept, and spending her time in a fair amount of solitude with her warden, Aiden, watching over her regularly, there was a bit of a reprieve last time we were together. Aspen and Aiden getting some time to catch up. Jester and Artie spending a little time before Artie decided to do a prison break of his own and deliver her to her boyfriend Leon to spend a little bit of time remembering what this is all for, remembering why this fight is worth having. Joseph also got to spend some time with Star, a loon spirit over in the Umbra that spends a great deal of time near Lettuce Lake Park. It was then that Joseph extended the offer for Loon to become the patron spirit of this pack, and she graciously accepted. However, it's not that simple. If it were as simple as just making the offer and having the offer accepted, that would be all well and good, except these things are a little bit more complicated than that. So, instead, a rite and a ritual has to take place, one that this pack has not enacted yet and may not even know of, but that's for the future to determine. Tonight, there's a lot to catch up on, as Aspen was able to successfully, with her associate Rachel Hart's help, secure the land of the cairn and bring it back into private ownership, taking it out of the city's hands, using all of the legal means and tricks at their disposal to do so. There's also a bane that was discovered on that very land, living within the furnace used for cremations on the Memorial Garden grounds. A bane of consumption and rage and fury, spurned on by the actions of the past sept at the history of this very cairn. So, needless to say, there's a great deal to talk about, and that is where we are going to begin our story tonight, as the pack, for the first time in over 2 weeks, comes back together as one once again. Aspen and Jester seeing each other for the first time in almost 2 weeks. Jester having changed her appearance dramatically, cutting her long, luxurious red hair off and dyeing it a dark black, as well as experiencing some changes of style and possibly even a little bit of change of attitude. So as we come together tonight, we find ourselves at the home of Eliza Ross, the cairn not quite being ready to be considered fully populated yet. You take the safe haven of the trailer in northern Tampa with Eliza to meet until the cairn is ready to be occupied and defended. I'd like each of you to describe what your feelings are coming to this meeting, seeing everyone else again for the first time, as well as any appearance changes, other than those that I've previously described, that you may be showing at this time. Aiden, we'll start with you.
Aiden's feeling pretty excited about seeing everyone. It's been a little bit since everyone gathered, and he really likes these get-togethers. It really brings that whole pack mentality that he's used to. So he's pretty excited about the whole thing. He's wearing his regular get-up. He has some jeans on, green vest, and a black t-shirt. Nothing really overall has changed, but he's in a pretty good mood as of late.
Aspen, go ahead.
Aspen is feeling conflicted. She's happy that everybody's back together and that we can all be in the same space and start working towards our goals. But she knows last time she saw Jester, it ended amicably, but there's a lot unsaid there still. And she looks like Aspen, freckled, blonde-haired, lithe. She's got a nice shirt on and a pencil skirt with some heels, as she usually does. Yeah.
And Jester, who's experienced the most changeover, go ahead and describe what you look like and what you're wearing this evening, as well as your thoughts coming into this meeting.
Aside from the black hair, the short black hair, Jester is dressed in a Slayer like a secondhand Slayer t-shirt and jean shorts as well as hiking boots. She does have the ringed collar on her neck. Um, and she is coming in feeling a bit nervous because, yeah, though they seem to have reconciled, she does not know how Aspen's feeling about her at the moment. She also doesn't know how Joseph feels. Um, she and Aiden have worked out mostly their issues because they've been stuck together for 2 weeks, and she knows Artie's got her back still, but she's not sure about the others, so she's a bit nervous and a bit conflicted about Leon, which is also playing into it.
And Joseph.
Joseph is looking as usual, probably just a bit more pragmatically now that he's not working at the shop. He's spending most of his time at the Memorial Gardens doing yard work and hands-on stuff. So probably no nail polish anymore. But still dark colors and earth tones. Emotionally, he's mostly anxious. He's nervous about the Bane. He's been trying to read up as much as he can, refresh his memory on that. He's hoping he has enough information to make an informed decision with the pack on what to do about that. And probably has been avoiding the idea of too much conflict with the other pack members. Luckily, he has jobs to do to keep his mind busy, but he's also very excited to figure out how to go about getting, now that everyone's together, how to go about getting all of the formalities done. So there's that excitement and the anxiousness about the Bane probably overriding everything else.
I've talked a lot over the last several times that you've been seen or visited Eliza's trailer, that the improvements of how it's been since you first met with her, and it just looks like those improvements continue, not just in the appearance of the trailer, which appears to be much more cleaned up, ready for guests. It seems like a much more inviting and warm environment, but even in Eliza herself, seeing her this very evening, she looks like she has become possibly 5 years younger. Some of the wrinkles in her face seem to have smoothed out a little bit. The bags under her eyes have decreased, and there's a joyful energy within her, a very peaceful calm, as opposed to the very much Hirano-inspired depression that had followed around her in your previous encounters. She still very much has a sassy southern attitude and a little bit of skepticism towards everything you're doing, but you can tell based off of the way she moves, the way she interacts, that a weight seems to have been lifted off of her shoulders. As transitions are, Artie has also started to experience some physical changes. You can see that his hair in its long dreads isn't as loosely worn around his shoulders and messily kind of thrown over the back of his head. Instead, it's tied up in a ponytail with the dreads hanging down behind. And rather than wearing ripped up jeans, it looks like he's actually wearing jeans that do not have any holes in them. Over a shitty band t-shirt, he actually wears a button-up shirt that does not look like it has been through hell and back. Instead, it appears to be something that was recently purchased, although based off of the look of it, it's a little out of fashion, probably having come from a thrift shop. But tonight, you are assembled in Eliza's trailer. It's only been about a day since we left off from our session last time, but you are together, and the scene is yours.
It's good to see everybody. I'm glad we're all back together.
Hi.
Yeah, it's good to have us all back here.
Yeah, it is.
I know we have a lot to talk about since we've kind of all been separate for a bit too long. Is there anything anybody wants to bring to the table?
Yeah. The went to the zoo, um, with Jester. It went really well. Met with Terrence and kind of met his friend. I didn't get to talk with his friend very much, but I actually got some face-to-face time with Terrence. Met some of the wolves that were there. That was fun. But he seems very connected to Gaia itself already. There's a overall understanding on how things are supposed to be and how they're not that way and they need to be fixed. Overall, I didn't get an overall sense of a change here anytime soon, which kind of helps me a little bit trying to get this figured out. But I'm gonna keep volunteering there, try and get as much as I can. But Jester talked to his friend more than I did.
Kyle.
Yeah, that guy.
He's angry and definitely has a burn it all attitude. But maybe he can be talked down. I'm trying. I was trying. I think I left him with some things to think about. So maybe if he's there again, I'll try some more. Make him see that maybe the people that are telling him that everybody needs to burn don't have the whole picture.
Oh, good. I think if anybody can talk someone like that down, Jester, you're person to go to. You look great, by the way. I like the new
Thanks.
aesthetic. I know you had mentioned, Aiden, that you were supposed to meet him after you were at the college, right?
Yeah, supposed to meet him as a wolf at near the same hunting grounds that I was at prior, but I have to be careful about when I hunt certain areas. If I overhunt one area, it's going to push the animals around. So I probably should go back there sooner than later. It's been a few weeks, but it's on the rotation. I'll get there. I'm sure that he seems understanding about wolves, so maybe he knows that how that works. But yeah, you're right. I need to get over there.
I think seeing him in wolf form will just keep him coming around that way, but definitely, get with him or as you have conversations with him.
Yeah, some of the things kind of went over my head. I tried keeping up with the conversation, but honestly, I think Joseph might be able to connect with him. I can talk to him and he seemed to enjoy me, but I think Joseph would be able to get through a little bit more than I am. It's just some of the way the wordings that he used.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help. I could probably go with you when you go hunting. I could use some wood time, to be honest.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Who's babysitting me then?
Yeah.
I think it's been long enough. I think it'll be okay.
If that's the case, I'd like to go back to Ryder's bar. He had a lot of stuff there. Some of it might be of use to us. Also, I'd just like to know more about the sept that was here before. And I think it's in Ryder's back room.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Makes sense for you to want to know more about him. And there's also things that need to be cleaned up there, I'm sure.
Has anybody told his gang what happened to him? Okay. I guess if they're there, I'll try to do that too.
Yeah. Be careful though. Make sure you call us if anything goes sideways.
I will.
Artie clears his throat slightly and speaks up. In regards to all of this, the Ryder's gang, Terrence, I mean, I'm all for growing our numbers and, solidifying our hold. I mean, who knows what we're up against, but what are we even prepared for that? What do we say to these people? Like, how are we going to explain what happened to Ryder's gang? How are we going to take in a brand new pup like Terrence? Are we even prepared for that? I mean, if these things are coming on a lot faster than we're ready for, what are we going to do with it? Are we even ready for it?
Do we have a choice?
Gonna say with Terrence, that's gonna happen regardless whether we're ready or not. We can only be as ready as we can be.
What do we need to do to make it to be ready? I guess that's what I'm getting from what Artie's saying.
I just think we need to be prepared for any eventualities because the cult, they seemed like they had their shit together. They had 3 new potential pups on that couch, and they didn't seem the least bit concerned about what to do with those pups when their time came. They seemed like they knew what they were doing. And with a new turning like Terrence, if we don't have our shit together, it's very likely that he could fall directly into their hands. I mean, it's going to be startling, the realization when all of this happens. And Aiden, you are great to be around if you know what you're getting into. But he's going to have all kinds of questions, and he's going to probably be scared. I mean, I don't know. I didn't have a traditional mentoring period. I just sort of had to figure it out for myself after I changed. And eventually, I found my way to the gatherings, the moots, and I got to learn more about what our culture is. But even then, I just always have kept, until you guys arrived, everybody at arm's reach. I'd go to the gatherings, but I wouldn't really consider myself a big part of it because it just didn't feel natural to me. It didn't feel right.
Well, what Terrence has that you didn't is a kin seeker, though. Someone I'm trying to give that sense that I'm here, that I'm that person that can help. But as far as what to do, I don't know. Usually, if a moot would be a great spot to take a new pup so they can be introduced to all the different guru. We don't really have that, but we do have us, which we have we have all the moons, and that's something that can be beneficial. It's not the best, but it's what we got, and I don't see us getting a moot anytime soon. And from what I can tell, it doesn't seem like he's at that point of turning. But I don't know. I'm just kind of taking this in a stride.
I also think we lack information, which talking to Terrence and Kyle more will help us with that. The more information we have under our belt, the more we have and can prepare for the eventuality that comes with the cult. It would be great maybe if Joseph could look into it more. But I think also with that comes getting the cairn done as quickly as we can. So there's a beacon, I guess, if you know, I don't know what else to call it. That'll help us a lot. But until we can get other people here, we're on an island by ourselves.
For sure. And I'm not by any means trying to rain on our parade. I mean, we're making progress. We're doing pretty well. But also with those new individuals, new alliances, new friends, new guru, comes liabilities. And I'm glad that things are paving over on our last incident. But are we able to take on those liabilities, or do we need to look into possibly sending someone like Terrence somewhere else after the change happens? I mean, we're going to be here for the change. That's inevitable, but maybe I'm just trying to consider all the possibilities, because that's
Not
a
a bad
brand
idea.
new guru with a group that is still finding their footing. We're doing pretty well, but we've had some issues.
I think when he does change, we need to be honest with him with what he's getting into with Tampa. And with that honesty, let the decision be up to him.
And like you've told me, Artie, we don't know where we're going to be at even like 3 months from now. So we can't plan for something that we're not sure of. Perfect world. We have a cairn. We have other people here. We've gotten some vampire stuff figured out. But we don't know what we don't know. I'm sure we have mentors in other places that if it does come down to that, we have people who are willing to take on that responsibility, I'm sure. But my hope is that I think Aiden was meant to be there for him for a reason, and I don't want to have to push him somewhere else if we don't have to.
Well, he'll kind of look over to where Eliza's sitting. Like, ma'am, what do you've, not to be rude, but you've been around for a bit. What do you think?
I remember the day you all darkened my doorstep for the first time. And all I could think was, don't get attached. These kids are going to get themselves killed. And luckily, so far, you've all proven me wrong. So I can say that I'm happy for that. You've also done me a great service. And so I owe you more than I can ever say. And therefore will do anything I can within my power to assist you. But I've also accepted the possibility of failure. I lived in it for over a decade. And if everything goes wrong and we lose this fight, I'm ready for that. I have made my peace with my inevitable fate. As too, I think, have some of you. Others are still taking a little bit longer to get there, but when you bring in a new guru, there's going to be so much chaos, so much confusion. They're going to have to learn how to live in this society, which is going to require a great deal of patience, but also diligence in teaching them, in training them. You're going to have to find a way to smoothly transition from the life they're leaving behind to this new life. And you're also facing a great many more threats than other packs, other septs do. They say it takes a village. You've barely got an apartment full of roommates. Septs usually have 2, 3, 10 times your number to help carry the load. And the 4 of you have, or the 5 of you have been shouldering quite a load, quite a burden on your own so far. Now, I do know of some packs in southern Georgia, a sept up there, that he could potentially be sent to if that was your wish. A place that is in a less dire circumstance. That could be a place he could go, at least for a short while. If he's anything like Artie here, he's probably got an attachment to this particular area and will want to return. But he may also want to see, or should be exposed to, the wide varieties that the various tribes have to offer, whereas here there are only the 6 represented, and his views may not quite align with all of ours. On the opposite side, the nation has abandoned this place. And while you are all doing a bang-up job representing the nation, it is a crumbling structure. So to that I would say perhaps the old ways aren't the only ways. You're building something out of nothing here. Perhaps you have to find the ways that best define you and what your particular purpose and mission is. You are building this sept, and you can decide what it involves. Traditions are important because they remind us of where we've been, but they may not always be relevant to where we are. And while I know Miss Weiss, based off of her particular moon and her choice of tribe, may see the importance of sticking to tradition, of upholding the laws, if those laws were so great, this sept would never have had to be rebuilt. Just something to consider from an outsider's perspective whose tribe left the nation long ago, but someone who has stood close enough nearby to see it succeed and fail.
I think when it comes to Terrence specifically, that's a bridge we need to cross when we have more information. Right now, we don't know what everything entails. Like, I do know that I'd like Aiden to be there when he changes. We still need to talk about how you want that to happen, Aiden.
The scare route was not great last time, so I don't know how long you have to wait for it to happen. The overall signs that are supposed to kind of be present. I'm not with him every day, all day. I get maybe an hour, maybe 2. So I gotta get as much information as I can in that short time, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to gather all of it. So I gotta find a way to get more time with him. I'm just not sure how to really do that, so that way I can be there for the entire time.
I don't have any answers for you, Aiden, but as someone who did not have a kinseeker, I do not recommend just letting it go and happen naturally.
Okay.
What if we just told him? Artie says. What if we told him in advance? I remember there being stories from moots of septs that would have would-be guru walking amongst them already before their change, as if it was something they were destined for. And therefore they were being prepared for it the entire time, so that when the change happened, it wasn't as much a transition as it was a promotion of sorts, I guess.
A rite of passage.
I mean, I think that might be what the cult is doing to their 3, is preparing them.
Could be.
I mean, if we tell him now, that gives us a chance to get to talk to him before the cult ends up getting to him.
And if he's kin, he likely won't freak out as bad as others. So we probably could tell him and show him to some extent once he understands a little. Maybe not the middle forms, but, you know, if and when he's ready to go from man to wolf.
I'm not opposed, but I'm leaving this specifically up to Aiden.
Well, I guess I'll see how it goes. I can't really say right now what I can do. I'll, I guess I can't really let you guys know at that moment either. But when I do decide and something happens, I'll be sure to update you all on where we're at currently.
Eliza
Yeah.
looks over to you and smiles slightly, sending a little bit of those wrinkly cracks across her face. Trust your instincts, boy. You were the one chosen for this duty for a reason. You must have something in that head of yours that the spirits thought was necessary for this process.
I'll do my best.
We all trust you. But also something I wanted to bring up while we're here. I was able to do the proper paperwork, and the memorial gardens are now private property in our possession.
What does that mean?
So instead of being city owned, where the city takes care of it, pays their employees and all of that, it is private owned. So therefore, we all can move within the memorial gardens without watch, without oversight.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job.
Yeah.
I went through the efforts of setting up an LLC, a corporation, with a fake name and fake paperwork. All of the legalities should be covered so that it shouldn't immediately lead back to us, but I will try to monitor as best as possible any potential investigations into the legitimacy of the company. I mean, this is not unknown property, and the significance of it, I can't imagine, is lost upon the leeches. So if they do see it does come across their desk this particular property has been purchased, and I'm sure it will, they're going to look into it, needless to say. I did have a thought, however. This could be a good use for Chloe. If she took the business side of this, hired new groundskeeping staff, got people on board. I mean, all the city workers aren't going to be working there anymore. We're going to actually need to manage the business of the property still. And Aspen, I know you can handle the legal end of it, but you've already got a lot on your plate. You got your hands full, to say the least. Maybe having somebody as a go-between wouldn't be a terrible thing. Now, I know she's still kind of relevant in the news, but that's something that could be taken care of. I could dummy up some paperwork for her as well and get her covered. Couple appearance changes. We can just make her disappear and then come in as this business entity.
Chloe's really good at managing and organizing. She's the one that kept Steno going. I was never the leader she was. I was just the face.
Okay. Joseph, I want you working closely within the cairn, so I'd
Yeah.
like to know your opinion.
I mean, having someone who's good at organizing, that cares about the fight, that could support us in a way that we are too busy to do because we have other ways of fighting it, would be a good idea. And that could be a way to keep you two connected, Jester, so that she is connected to what you're doing, and in a way we're still fighting the fight that you've been fighting. So I don't see a problem with it.
Plus, people are going to be wanting to still purchase plots and upkeep, and there's just going to be a lot of business side of things. And Aspen, I know you're going back to school, hopefully, to finish your degree, and Aiden obviously has to keep eyes on Terrence. Jester has to keep her head down and learn how to use her new gigantic silver toothpick. And obviously, Joseph has to handle the cairn, and I can take care of a lot of the paperwork side of things, but I'm not exactly the person whose face you want to see when you're trying to buy a burial plot from somebody.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think having her working closely with us, that way we can all keep an eye on her and she can help us out and be a part of it is what she wanted. So I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
It'll give her something to do, make her feel more involved. And he looks over towards Eliza. Give her a break from the old lady.
I'm sure she's having a wonderful time.
I'm sure she is. Eliza just scowls over at Artie but doesn't say anything.
I'd have a wonderful time if I was here, Eliza.
Damn straight you would.
You'd kick me out.
I'm an excellent entertainer. I'd leash you up in the backyard.
Hey.
Oh, but with that, we're gonna have to figure out that thing, Joseph, before she starts working there.
Well, if she stays out of that room, she should be okay. I think it's bound.
Thing?
On the note of the Memorial Gardens, we have some cleanup to do. Hopefully minor, probably not minor cleanup to do. We found a Bane in the crematorium. It wants more Garu. Apparently the passing of the Garu in the past cairn made it hungry. So that's something we're gonna have to take care of. And I started trying to look into what we should do about it, but it's a thing we're gonna have to handle at some point soon. I think it's bound to that spot. It's not gonna go burning the entire gardens. So we probably have a little bit of time to do some research and see how we can extinguish it, but it's there.
A chime alerts on Artie's phone, and he looks down at it, and his brow furrows, his face kind of scrunches up as he looks at it, and he immediately stands up and starts heading for the door to go outside.
Burning?
It's a bane of consumption, of hunger. It is the furnace.
Can't you just take it out?
Yeah, then we can't cremate people.
Can't you just get a new one?
So I think it's tied to the ground and it's manifesting in the furnace. If we put a new furnace in, it's going to manifest in that furnace, would be my guess. And then we'd be putting a haunted furnace on some other poor person owning a junkyard or something. So this needs put back into the Umbra and like to the Malfians or wherever the worm is now. Like whatever that, it needs to go away because it's not safe to be around this side of things.
Eliza speaks up also. If it's a bane, it's not going to go peacefully. You try to remove it, it will defend itself, and it will fight back. And even if you did send in some unknowing souls to try and handle it, it could imprint upon to them, if not outright destroy them, causing a whole different kind of mess.
Yeah, passing the buck would be very irresponsible of us.
I thought we could only get rid of Banes through the Umbra.
Right. I thought so too. So
Yeah.
we're going to have to go back over to the Umbra to fight it. And if I remember correctly, fire hurts a lot. I haven't been burned in a while, but it was pretty bad after I changed.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can protect against that if we fight it?
Water. Water helps.
I
with
mean,
fire.
sure. If we can get some water in the Umbra and cool the thing off.
What about a spirit? Like, what if we get a water spirit's help?
I mean, it's not a horrible idea.
The other thing
obviously,
you have to consider is that if it has found a host, and a host doesn't always have to be a person or an animal, if it has found that furnace to be a host, you are going to have to deal with it on both sides. Because you will have to rid it from the host and then destroy it in the Umbra before it finds a new host.
So we have to fight it twice.
Or simultaneously.
Or split up.
Cool.
I feel you, Aiden. So, I mean, obviously this is not going to happen tomorrow, so just ideas we could throw out or things to consider.
We should be doing it as soon as possible. We don't need other people getting hurt either.
No.
You said it's in that spot, so we know where it's at, and it's
yeah,
probably
and
not going anywhere.
It didn't do much. Well, I felt it. Aspen, you weren't able to feel it until we kind of made it manifest. So
Right.
I don't think it's going to. The people who are passing by aren't in immediate physical danger. Obviously, having the presence of a bane can be an emotional and psychological issue over time. Luckily, we're going to be changing out staff. So we're not going to have staff that's been there for a few years dealing with the prolonged effects. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's an immediate physical harm of people getting like grabbed and pulled into the crematorium without them belonging in there. But yeah, we should take care of it quickly. I just want to do research and see that we can go into this fight knowing what we're doing, and maybe eliciting the aid of, a water spirit or a wind spirit or something that could help with this.
My patron might be able to help.
That crossed my mind. Yeah, cold wind could help.
There are also practical means you can handle on this side of things. Yes, it does work with fire, but it is working with fire that it manifests here. If you were to take traditional means of handling said fire extinguishers, water, things that are commonly accessible, that can at least
turn off the gas.
Decrease the risk here.
But,
now on the other side, that's a whole different beast, but at least half the fight you'll have more of an advantage because it's limited to what its host can do.
Can we take things of water? Like if I carried a bunch of water buckets over, is that, or do I have to do I don't know if my rights work on buckets.
I don't think we could dedicate buckets of water.
Not your rights, but there are others.
Okay.
Now, if you were to spend the time learning it, there is a right that allows you to, from the Umbra, reach out and grab something and bring it into the Umbra. Now, it does require a lot more focus, a lot more mental strain the larger the object is. but it is possible. It allows you to grasp from beyond, is the words I've heard it referred to.
Maybe super soakers instead of like actual buckets of water. They're guns that shoot water, Aiden.
Oh, okay. Like a fire truck.
Have you watched Monster Squad yet?
No.
Add it to the list.
Okay. He'll pull out his phone, go to his notes.
But the representation of us is horrible. Take that in consideration.
Okay.
The representation of us has very rarely been favorable.
No.
Okay. So Joseph, maybe you can do some research on the right with Eliza and some other things as far as the Bane on either side. If we are fighting on both sides, who exactly do we want on each side, right? I think Joseph and Aiden need to be on the Umbra side.
Okay.
And I would like Jester for you to be with me because Artie and I have our own special, advantages, but we're not fighters. So
I'll protect you.
okay.
So
Yeah, that could work.
on the other side, it doesn't use fire from here. It makes its own. Is that what you're saying? It
I'm not. I did not step over to see exactly how it's going to manifest on the other side.
Okay.
It's manifesting with fire likely because it is, inside the furnace. It is inhabiting the furnace. I don't know if it'll continue to use fire when it's pulled away from the furnace. When that's gone, banes of consumption of hunger can manifest lots of ways. So it may not look like fire went away. It may just look like any other bane we'd see. So that's an unknown at this point. But being prepared for fire on the other side would still be a good idea. Even if we're fighting it while it's still manifested, then it's going to be pulling that.
And we fight it at the same time? Like
Maybe. We'll have to see which is going to be the best bet. It might be helpful if we're weakening it from both sides.
That's what I was thinking.
Instead of doing two separate fights.
Yeah.
Distract it.
Okay, we'll get more information on that. And hopefully, we'll get that done ASAP. As soon as you find the information, Joseph, we can go get that done.
Since we're all here and talking about spirits, I talked to Star again. She is ready, and whenever we're all together and able to call, she's willing to come wherever we are. So we could move forward with her patronage whenever we're ready.
Awesome.
There is a particular rite, a ritual that needs to be done for this to fully take root, for this pact to be solidified. If I may make a suggestion, I think it would be best to do at the side of the new camp. Making the connection between Grandmother Willow and Star could further your goals. And also, I would be more than willing to perform the rite for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That'll be really helpful and it'll be wonderful. We can get that done too. It's just got to get to the cairn, get the rite done, right? Or do we need other things like gifts, right? I don't.
Well, from what Joseph has told me and what you've all told me about your ventures into the Umbra and your dealings with Star, As far as I can tell, all of the formalities have been accomplished. You have won their favor. You have sought them out. You have proven yourself to them. Now it's just a matter of making this official. Investing, combining your energies as a pack, and merging your energy with their energy, creating that connection. At this point, the front door opens again, and Artie steps in, and he looks like he's seen a ghost. His face is completely drained of color as he holds the phone. Aspen.
Yeah.
Rachel's dead.
What do you mean Rachel's dead?
So, as I got to know all of you and I looked into the people you were connected to, I thought it would be a good idea to set up alerts about anything that had to do with them or businesses, places that you frequented. Well, I got an alert that she was involved in a car accident and didn't make it. I called to make sure. That's why I stepped outside. I didn't believe it. I mean, it's not that uncommon a name, so I tried to follow up. And as I double checked, it checks out. Her car, she must have lost control of it. It went off the bridge and into the water, and she died. Looks like it just happened last night. I can continue to look into it if you'd like, but everything that I've seen so far is... it looks like it's true. I've got a guy at the hospital, at the morgue. I can see if I can get a picture to verify, but I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Did it say what happened? Like how?
I looked at the police report. I called a couple of contacts. I don't know if she lost control of the car somehow and broke through the barrier of the bridge, and car went over the side and into the lake. And based off of the medical examiner report, it says she probably was knocked unconscious when she hit the barrier and then drowned. They've already pulled the car out of the water, and from the police report, the license plate, the tags, the VIN number all match.
I'm gonna get up and walk over and kneel next to Aspen and just take her hand. You can squeeze as hard as you want.
They don't expect any foul play. They said there was no signs of anything on the scene. She might have swerved to avoid an animal. They're not sure. They don't have anything that says that anything was wrong. No. Nothing done to the car, at least from initial reports. It just looks like it went through the barrier and off the bridge.
They say where?
Yes. I can get you that information.
Okay.
Okay. I can take care of it later. I have to figure things out later.
Cool. Do you want to go
Aspen, what do you
home?
need?
Was there anything else we needed to talk about?
I think it can wait.
Okay.
Better hum.
Artie walks over and helps Aspen up off of the couch. Just call me if you guys need anything, okay? With that, he takes her out to the Jeep that's waiting outside. And with that, we'll take a quick 5-minute break. Enjoy the new break time video where we feature art from our community inspired by Rage Across Tampa. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. We hope you had a good break. As we return, we transition to the next day. Jester, you've been given your freedom from being under the watch of Aiden and the ability to go about your affairs as normal once again. In the wake of the tragedy and the loss of Rachel Hart, Aspen's lawyer, boss, associate, friend that she met in college, almost a mentor, the importance of those we're close to rings true with you. So with Eliza's permission, you take Chloe with you on a trip to the motorcycle club, Ryder's bar. Arriving outside of the completely black painted building, you can see several motorcycles are parked in the gravel parking lot as you arrive, and the sounds of heavy thumping music can be heard from the boarded up windows and the door that leads into the facility itself. As you pull in to the parking lot, Chloe looks at the building and then looks over at you and then back at the building, her face telling the story of the last time she was here, the last conversation you had, and the memory of the body wrapped up laying on the floor of the bar itself. What are you feeling coming back to this place?
Very conflicted. I'm also remembering that night and keeps bringing me back. Also wondering what I'm going to tell these bikers, but somebody has to tell them Ryder's gone. They at least deserve to know that instead of Ryder just disappearing. The same time, with Rachel's death, I'm still conflicted about what to do with Leon. He wants to be involved, but it's not safe. Even if it was just Rachel's death was a stupid accident. We seem to get the people we care about killed. And maybe in the very back of my head, thinking it may not be an accident, and Aspen was right. I brought this on her.
Chloe, noticing your apprehension and your eyes primarily locked on the building, reaches over and takes your hand. You're doing good.
Thanks. How are you?
Well, it's, if you'd have told me a month ago, when I was sitting in that cell, half the things I've heard since, I'd think you were...
Insane?
Well, I'd think you were writing some sort of fantasy horror novel. I mean, Eliza's been patient with me while I've been processing all of this, but the things she's told me, the things she's shown me,
It's a lot.
I can understand why you didn't want to say anything. I would have thought you were crazy. I know the others couldn't have even begun to comprehend it, but...
Yeah.
I'm proud of you for what you're doing, and I don't know what I can offer to you as a Ghislaine, but I'm with you.
We were actually talking about if you would be interested. Has Eliza told you about cairns?
Yeah, well, she started off with a big lecture of how they were places of ritual in some old cultures and religions, and they were like gathering rock formation. It was a whole thing, but she said it's like a gathering place, a place of power, a place where you can commune with spirits, and a place that needs to be protected or something like that.
Yeah, the pretty much from what I understand, it's supposed to be a place that does need to be protected and kind of like a safe space for us where we can meet. And well, the old Karen was the memorial park, and we're trying to open that back up. Uh, Aspen has actually managed to move it from public property to private property under us, and the idea got bounced around that possibly you could manage it on the business side. I mean, it's totally up to you if you want to do it, but
If that's how I can help, I'll help. But is it safe? I mean, my face was all over the newspaper and the news, and I mean, we're fugitives now. Is that even possible?
Artie was talking about identities and paperwork and changing up a bit so that it wouldn't lead back to you as a fugitive. I'd get with him on the details, or we could get with him on the details on it. But I think we have a way if you'd be interested.
Probably have to get a haircut like you, huh?
Doesn't have to be like mine, but probably a haircut's a good idea. Or maybe just dye it. You could be cute as a blonde.
Well, they say they have more fun. I told you anything I can do to help, I'll help. I'll have to do a bit of research, some learning onto managing a business like this. I've always focused on community organizations and activism, but if this is the best way I can help, and if everything that I've learned is true, the city isn't the ones you want to have control of that. So, yeah, of course.
To be honest with you, just having you here knowing is enough for me.
It's not enough for me. I'll go stir crazy if I have to stay in that trailer all day, every day.
That's fair. I'd go stir crazy too. At least I got a park to run in.
Missed you, Jess. I missed being honest with each other, and I feel like I get you more now than I feel like I have in such a long
Years?
time. Yeah.
Everything changed that night. Kind of why I took on the new name. Because I wasn't the same person.
Makes sense. I'm really sad you had to go through it alone. I'd have thought you were crazy, but I would never have abandoned you or left you alone with all this. I'd probably called a couple of therapists, but we'd have figured it out. But that's in the past, and we're here now, and we're here together, and I will do whatever will help you and keep you safe.
Thanks. And I'm going to keep you safe. So, I saw Leon a few days ago.
Oh.
Don't tell Aspen.
How's that going?
Conflicted? It's a mess.
Does he know?
No.
Okay, because I'd have been really upset if you told him before you told me.
No, he can't. I can't be lucky twice. I can't tell him. I mean, I can't bring him in. I could really use your advice, because I don't know what to do. I can't tell him, but he wants to know, and every time, every time I try to let him go, he says something, and I can't, and I don't know what to do anymore.
What do you want, Jess? Like, what is he to you? Is he a reminder of a life you wish you could have? Is he you trying to cling to normalcy? Like, what is he to you?
He reminded me of the beauty of the world I was fighting for. But I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe he was also me clinging to what could have been.
If there's anything that I've learned, and keep in mind I'm very new to all of this, this side of things, but if there's anything that I learned in all of our struggles from before, all of our life from before, there has to be some normalcy. There has to be something that gives you comfort, that gives you strength, that refuels you to keep fighting. Because if your life is completely consumed in the fight, I think you lose track of what you're fighting for. And I think that what do you go home to after the fight's over?
You sound like Artie.
I don't know about all that. That guy weirds me out a little bit.
You'll like him eventually. He grows on you.
But also, everything you're attached to is at risk. And I can tell you, from my own personal perspective, I couldn't make sense of any of it, why it was all happening, and I couldn't get answers, and it made it harder. It made it hurt more. I felt abandoned by you. I felt betrayed by you. I felt attacked by you, taken advantage of by you. Now, understanding why and how complicated all of that is, it makes a little bit more sense, but
he won't be able to ever know that, and
probably not.
It will never be fair to him.
If you don't want him to end up like Jackson
Mia.
or Caleb or Mia, or I don't know who Rachel was, but is he just going to be another sacrifice without knowing why?
I don't want that. I didn't want that for any of you. And I am trying really hard to learn from my mistakes.
If it were me, and it's not, I don't know what it even feels like to turn into a wolf. I mean, that's gotta feel so weird. But if I knew that I was a danger to the people around me, I'd either have to tell them or let them go. Because they didn't sign up for this. they didn't agree to this. They didn't even know that this was part of being in your life. And even if I had known, I would have. Because you're my best friend. But if you can't tell him, if you really can't tell him, if he can't be brought into this, then you have to send him away.
I kind of knew you were going to say that.
I hate saying it. I don't want to see you get hurt any more than you already have been, Jess. And whether it's today or whether it's you on your terms or not on your terms, you're still going to get hurt by this. So is he.
Yeah, but if I end it now, he might still be alive. He'll be able to move on. And he won't get caught up in all of this any more than he already has.
But he also comes off as kind of clingy to me. So what are you going to do about that? I mean, I'm surprised
I don't know yet.
You still saw him after everything you've put us through. How a boyfriend would stay around, I couldn't even begin to understand.
I wrote him a letter trying to break up, and he found me. He found me. Nobody else has found me. He found me. I'll have to figure something out. But he's not here, and I have to go tell a biker gang that their brother is dead.
I got your back. She reaches into her bag and pulls out a can of pepper spray.
Okay. Let's go.
So you climb out of the car, making your way over to the heavy wooden door with the wrought iron handle. And as you pull it open, you're hit by a dissonance of sound that just rolls out of the bar. You can hear laughing, you can hear bottles clinking, you can hear a heavy metal rock anthem blaring through speakers. You can hear billiard balls knocking off of one another from the nearby pool table. And as you make your way in, some of the bikers look over, but, pay you no mind at first. And then the heavy-set, kind of muscular-looking biker makes his way over, the guy that you've known from the past few encounters to be effectively the doorman. And as he approaches, he wipes a hand under his nose and says, Ryder's not here.
Yeah, can we talk? Maybe somewhere a little more private? Yeah, you and me.
All right. So
What was your name again?
They call me Sticky Ricky. You can call me Rick.
Rick it is. Come on.
You and your friend?
Yeah, not like that. Dude, I can now see why you and Ryder were friends. Come on.
All right, whatever. So where are you going?
I know the back room But we don't want to go in the back room.
So there's
there
the general bar area where there's the bar. There's a couple of pool tables, a large jukebox off to one side. There is the back kind of garage warehouse area, and there is a couple of bathrooms along the hallway, but it's not a particularly large building. There's not a lot of necessarily private space other than the back room.
Fine, back room it is.
Okay. So heading into the back room, it's the large kind of concrete back area with the cages full of parts for various automobiles as well as some munitions and weapons. You can see the hooks where the clave would hang remain empty. Did you bring the clave with you by chance?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And on the ground, you can see a darkened spot on the concrete, which was clearly where the body had laid before.
Yeah, my gaze is going to linger on that spot for a moment before I turn to Ricky. So, are you usually in charge of the bar?
Security? But yeah, kind of.
Are you... Who manages it?
I mean, Ryder primarily managed it, sorta. I mean, nobody really. We all manage it.
Okay.
What's this about? You want some weed or something?
No. I have some bad news.
All right.
Ryder died a few weeks ago. He was helping me, and he chose to sacrifice himself to right an injustice that happened. My friends, not to Chloe, had ended up getting caught up in the explosion that Ryder and your people had caused at the power plant. So he planned a 2-person breakout with me and him. Except that things got hairy, and he stayed back to let me get my friends out, and he didn't make it.
That explains some things. He had gotten us all together, said that he had some things to take care of and that he might not come back. Now, he said shit like that before, but then he'd only be gone for a few weeks. We thought he was shacking up with his old lady or something.
He had an old lady?
He had many old ladies over the years.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what he told us.
Maybe he did. I was just starting to get to know him, and we didn't really start out on the best foot after the power plant. But I owe him, and I felt it was fair that all of you should know what happened. If it's all right with you, I would like to look through some of his things. I think he left some stuff for us, our group.
Yeah, that's fine. He takes you over to one of the cages and pulls out a key ring, unlocks the heavy padlock on it, opens it. He had some things here. He said he kept most of his stuff at a storage unit.
Yeah, he took me there.
He must have liked you then. He didn't take a lot of people there.
I guess so. I'd like to have a memorial or something with all of you for him here, maybe in a week or so. Just maybe to talk about how everybody remembers him. I think he'd
like an
appreciate
Irish
that.
wake.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah, all right. You're all right. You kept talking about you and your friends coming around here. First, it seemed weird. Random group you run with.
We're a motley crew.
Putting it mildly. Now you got legs over here. He points to Chloe, who immediately kind of slightly sidesteps behind you.
She probably won't be around as much. But I might. And the others might.
Shit, man. Ryder had some rough edges, but he always looked out for us.
Beneath all the rough edges and the anger, he had a good heart.
Well, I'll give you a minute. I gotta go tell the other guys. But, take as long as you need.
Okay. Thanks.
With that, he lumbers his way out of the room, closing the door behind him, leaving you and Chloe in the storage room. She looks over at you. Legs? Sticky Rick? Is this part of it? Like, is this part of the whole thing?
No. Ryder joined up with the biker gang after things went bad in Tampa 10 years ago.
Well, that's a choice. And I guess it's one pack to another pack, right?
Yeah, I think like you said, sometimes we need people. He stare at the bloodstain again. He went through a lot. The vampires, the leeches, they pretty much destroyed the sept and made him live through it, of losing everyone.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep all these terms in my head. Sept?
So our little group, like the 5 of us, Aspen, myself, Aiden, Joseph, and Artie, we're a pack, right?
Right, and that's
Aspen's,
like your group.
Right, our little group. Aspen's our leader. But a city or a cairn can have multiple packs, and those packs are make up of sept, and usually there's a sept leader who leads all of the different packs. Ryder was that sept leader.
So,
and
till recently, it was just you guys, Eliza and Ryder.
Right.
So when the sept was destroyed, the others were gone.
They were most died. Some just gave up and left. They gave up on Tampa and they left. And they left Ryder and they left Eliza alone. And Mary left Ryder alive so that he could experience being alone and knowing the fact that the people he was responsible for were murdered by her and the others.
Oh boy.
So he experienced something I don't think Eliza probably has talked to you about. I'll leave the name out of it for now, but we can talk about the names later. But it is an intense anger where there was only the war for Ryder. Casualties didn't matter anymore. And that's how we got caught up in things. But in the end, in the prison break, he came back to himself for just a moment.
I can't say I don't get it. Everything was taken away from you. I mean, I was so angry at you.
Yeah.
You're back.
I'm back. And I'm not going to become Ryder.
Please don't. Let's say don't become like any of the others either. You know, dead or gone. Just be Jess. That's all you've ever had to be. Believe it or not, some people actually like you for who you are.
I will try my hardest to not be like the others.
So, what are we looking for?
The past. Ryder must have had trinkets, notes, papers, something to tell me, like, what more about the old sept.
Let's start looking.
Yeah, I will start going through the closets or storage units stuff.
So there's a lot of drawers, a lot of hooks that various items hang on. You can actually see a rifle positioned off against one side, a couple of handguns, several boxes of ammunition. You see a key ring full of keys hanging off of one. But in the drawers, as you start peeking through them, go ahead and roll me a wits and investigation.
Does she have investigation? I could use some help.
Yeah, I'll say you can take an extra dot.
Okay.
Or an extra die.
Oh, sweet. I got a crit, so 5 successes.
Okay. So as you're pulling through the drawers, looking about, you see various pieces. You see a neatly folded up military uniform. Looks like a Marine's dress uniform. Kind of tucked away in a box, shoved towards the back of one of the drawers. You also see a folded up black leather jacket that is, a lot of the leather is melted. And it kind of matches up with where the burn scars on his face were as it presses into the jacket. You see another box, a shoe box that you open up, and as you open up and start leafing through it, there's photos. Lots and lots of photos. The photo that seems to sit on top of the stack is of Ryder at a much younger age. No burn scars on the side of his face. He has sort of a strict, forced smile on his face as if he's being forced to take this photo. But you can see that he has his arm around a woman who has long blonde hair and is sidled up next to him, a hand against his chest. And on the back of it, it says Holly on the photo. And it says 2013 underneath the photo. You sort through and you see pictures of a lot of individuals that you don't recognize. But in the background of some of the photos, you see Eliza, and you see a young man that matches the photo that you saw, or that was on Eliza's nightstand, of her son, Orion. As you're looking through the photos, there's a lot of photos that seem to be taken at the Memorial Gardens. It looked different than it does now. 10 years has caused a lot of changes in the interim. But there are also some at Lettuce Lake Park, of all places. You've gotten to know the grounds around there pretty well. You can see some at the observation tower, some at the campground. That is where your RV sits, or the RV you've been staying in sits. But it looks very different. It looks like there's a lot of, almost like a campsite setup, with a fire pit and several tents. As you continue to leaf through these photos, they all seem to be labeled with names written on the back. He had a life, to say the very least. Back when the sept of the Weeping Willow stood tall, he clearly had a life, but he also had a lot of responsibility. The last photo you find at the bottom of the stack is him standing next to a rather kind of tan, dark-skinned man who also has a very serious, dour expression, and you can see that the man has the large clave poised over his shoulders, the man that you recognize from your vision in Ryder's memory to be Joseph, the former sept leader, the one who fell to the hands of Bloody Mary right in front of Ryder. Another photo shows Ryder in his military uniform standing next to Cricket, the bald woman that you also saw in the vision. She also dressed in a military dress, both of them very serious expressions. From what you could tell from the photo, it was a time when they were being awarded, giving commendations for service overseas, likely before they had to leave the military. From what you can ascertain from all these photos, from various objects, you find the box with the medal in it that he was awarded. He was a soldier, a man who spent a great deal of his life in service to the military, but also to the sept. If you didn't know better, if you didn't get this insight, it would seem that's all he ever was. But from some of the pictures and some letters that you find, he also had a life of his very own, a private life. One that, until your discovery, none others probably even knew of. And contrary to what Ricky made you believe, there was only one old lady in Ryder's life. But from what you can ascertain, she's no longer with this world. And she probably died with the sept. and from the wet stains on the paper, from the crumpled edges, he likely never got over it. As you look over the
Wow.
key ring, you see one of the keys has numbers carved into it, and it's likely the unit number at the storage complex that you went to visit.
I'll take the key ring and the pictures. I kind of want to ask Eliza about some of them. She was there, so she knew them. Maybe she could tell me more. Poor Ryder.
So as you gather up your belongings, Chloe helping you carry anything that you wish to take with you, you make your way out to the vehicle. You can't take everything. That would take multiple trips, but as you make your way out, you know that there is a story here to be pieced together of what happened in 2013, of what happened at the fall of the Sept. But it's going to take a lot longer than a cursory glance to make sense of it all.
Right. But we need to know.
But
It's
you
part
need
of
to
our
know.
tradition.
And with that, you make your way off. And we'll transition to the Memorial Gardens, where we find Joseph and Aiden. Aiden, you purposefully asked before going out on a hunt with Joseph to come visit the Memorial Gardens, to come see Grandmother Willow. What was your intentions behind that?
His thought process is that someone already told him on the way to burying Ryder. He told him to watch a movie, The Last Samurai. And the way Aiden sees it, he's the last of the Arun. And he needs some guidance from someone who's seen a lot of Arun come through the area that have died. He needs to know how that happened, how he can keep everyone safe, because the Arun seem to keep dying here. He needs to keep the pack safe.
So as you and Joseph arrive at the Memorial Gardens, you can see that there's already a sign out front that says under new management, as it has been a couple of days since the sale. You drive through the curtain of Spanish moss that decorates the sides of the long trail, through the various plots and gravestones, moving by on either side until you find yourselves at the base of Grandmother Willow. As you look to the ground where you know Ryder's body is buried, it looks like grass has grown completely over the grave itself, disguising it within the earth, as if previously on your last visit the earth has completely taken the grave in. The scene is yours.
Joseph, you've done a good job here.
Thanks. It's not just me, but I appreciate it. Looks like she's doing some of her own work too. That grew back fast.
Yeah, so can I say strange?
Sure. I don't think that's an offensive word. You're
Okay,
all right.
all right, cool. The last person I want to upset is her.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's get this going.
Okay. Yeah. Take a few deep breaths. Close his eyes. Reach out. Grandmother Willow, if you are willing, Aiden would like a few words with you.
Hi, I'm needing. Sorry, I don't normally talk to trees, but I need help. I'm having an issue with how to keep the pack safe. It seems that all the protectors that are supposed to be here keep dying, which I get that's the lot of the rune, but I need to last a little bit longer. I'm still pretty new at this, and just some guidance, a little bit of knowledge on how these other rune fought, and ways that I can try and prevent where they messed up, ways that I can make sure that doesn't happen to me.
Go ahead and roll me a charisma and persuasion check.
Can I add a die to that?
I will say so, yeah. Your presence alone should have some encouragement. This isn't a waste of her time.
I burn a will?
Yeah.
Damn it. 1.
There is a long pause. Silence hangs in the air. Before it seems like you're just on the brink of giving up, as if there's no answers to be found here, the wind picks up, the branches whisper, and 2 leaves fall from the tree. One of them lands in Joseph's already waiting outstretched hand. The other one kind of whirls in the air and then drops to your feet, Aiden.
You'll bend down, kind of look to just like, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll eat the leaf.
Same.
To place the leaf in your mouth. Joseph, you're becoming very used to this way of doing things, but Aiden, it is very uncomfortable as the sticky, almost toxic substance touches your tongue. Roll me a stamina and composure check so that you don't immediately spit it out, or even worse.
Or
You are able to stomach it. It doesn't taste good. Everything in your body wants to get this out of your body as quickly as possible, but you let the toxic, sticky substance cover your tongue. And as you clench your eyes shut, you open them again, and the tree is changed. It stands a lot taller in your vision than it has before. Its branches stretching out over you, even past the far horizon. Joseph, it looks like the branches of the tree have grown and extended out further. Your efforts showing in the way Grandmother Willow is extending her reach. The strange thing about this particular vision is that the tree itself, other than its height, other than its width, doesn't appear to have changed. Instead, a white, barky, covered wolf kind of lopes its way out from the base of the tree, making its way over the roots of the tree itself, and comes to sit at the base of the tree directly in front of you, Aiden.
kind of look around and then to the wolf, and then to Joseph, and then back to the wolf, and walk forward to it.
The wolf cocks its head to the side, and in your head, both of your heads, you hear a voice. Child of the full moon. Warrior. You wish to succeed where the others have failed.
I do.
Do you consider yourself wiser than them? Stronger than them?
No, on both counts.
You underestimate yourself on one of those, for it is wise to ask these questions. What is it about the children of the full moon that makes them so prone to sacrifice? As if it's the only option.
But we're told we're the ones that go out and do the fighting. We're the flesh, the blood, we're the ones to shed it. Everyone else has their part to play. Ours is to take the physicality aspect of it.
But you should also have been taught to lead. Yes, you may be the first ones in, the last ones out, but the primary point is that you get out. Your pride is what is your downfall. You must stay and defeat whatever is in your way. You must win for your honor. Isn't that right?
That is what they say.
Some battles can't be won. Sometimes victory is in retreat. You buy them enough time to get out and you leave. You live to fight another battle. Honor isn't won just by sacrifice. Protection isn't earned when you die. If anything, you leave your pack, your sept, weaker with your loss. You must rely on your instincts, but you must grow more intelligent as well. You must think like your enemy. But you must not forget the differences between you and them. Servants of the worm have time. Time to cause decay, time to cause rot, but time to learn, to adapt, time to prepare, time you do not have. So you must double your efforts to make up for your disadvantage.
What is it you suggest over? I learn more about fighting, more about what's strategy.
You must learn all of these things and more. Not every fight is a fight you can have a part in. Sometimes you must let the others fight. You must let the others sacrifice.
Okay. I'll do my best. Who are you?
I am what has been, what is, and what will be.
Okay. Well, we'll take your lessons to heart, and I will work on them. Uh, thank you. They are difficult lessons, but they are ones that need to be learned.
Those of the full moon are more prone to recklessness than the others. Aggression. If you can temper your aggression, use it as a tool rather than let it dominate you, rather than let it control you, then there's hope for you yet. As you said, those that came before were wiser, were stronger, but they were still prone to the same mistakes that you your own self could make.
I'll try and be smarter. I'll work on these things. Can I come back and talk to you again?
Finish building. This is a lot of work for me to visit you like this. It would be a lot easier if this place were fully prepared.
We're getting there. But thank you for doing this.
This is our last chance.
I understand.
With that, the wolf gets back up on all fours and starts making its way back around the tree, stopping to turn and look over its shoulder at you before stepping behind the tree and disappearing. The tree almost pulls back in, shrinking back to its normal size. You can feel your vision start to swim ever so slightly as the toxins wear off, and you find yourself back at the base of the tree as if nothing had happened.
Joseph, this stuff feels. Why does my head always feel like someone was in there doing stuff when these are done?
It's pulling you through. Instead of doing the right to step all the way through or learning the gift to open your eyes, that pulls you through. So it's like putting your head in water for a minute to pass through. I guess that would work.
Yeah,
You look into a stream.
yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of what it sort of like being squeezed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, apparently I have some things to work on.
Sounds like don't be dumb.
I'm working on it.
No, not don't be uneducated or don't be ignorant of specific facts. But don't be stupid. Don't be reckless. And be humble.
Trying.
You're not doing that bad.
Do we say thank you to?
You know what to do.
Um. Thank you for allowing us to eat the leaves and pass through and come back. Was that it? Is there more?
You're good.
Okay.
It's from the heart. It's all that matters. Turn around. Bow. Thank you, grandmother. Hunt?
Yeah, that sounds great.
So you head back to Joseph's sedan, climb in, and make the drive out to Hillsborough State Park. You pull into a gravel driveway, one of many that leads into the park, one of the many access points before parking the vehicle. It's late morning at this point, as you went out to visit Grandmother Willow at first light. Now I would say it's probably 8 or 9 a.m. by the time you arrive at the park. It doesn't seem that anyone else is at this particular parking lot, as there are many that you can go to. But you can guess that some people are probably traversing the park at this time, so subtlety and stealth is of the utmost priority as you make your way deep into the park. But once you pass a certain threshold, you should be out of common person sight.
Relay that, like, hey, just with the time of day we're at right now, should stay like this. But I'll take you to a spot. And do you have a way you like to hunt?
I miss the old-fashioned way.
Okay. Yeah. However you're comfortable, and
Yeah.
we'll just
No,
take it slow.
and it's early enough. They should still be moving.
They should be. Yeah. Yeah. So take them out along the path until we get to a secluded area.
Having done this before, you make your way far enough into the park itself until you get past the trails, past the guided walkways, and you venture further into the woods. After about a good half hour or so of walking from the car, you find that you're in a secluded enough location that you could make the change without anybody seeing.
Aiden will kind of look to Joseph and then just drop down into his lupus form.
Joseph would do the same.
So both of you make the transition from bipedal to quadrupedal, dropping down on all fours, skin being replaced with fur, shrinking down to a much more compact but lithe size. Your senses sharpening as you enter into the lupus form, becoming one with nature. You can hear the sound of the wind whispering through the trees. You can feel the earth beneath your paws as your claws dig slightly into the ground. You feel more connected than you do with the barriers that prevent you, like shoes and concrete. It's almost as if Gaia still has a heartbeat. You could feel it pulsing beneath your feet. Aiden, go ahead and roll me a wits and survival as you now begin the hunt for prey.
I'll help.
Go ahead and add an additional die.
3.
3 successes. It takes some time to find a good game trail. But you eventually do. You believe it's deer, based off of the hoof prints in the ground, and you start making your way along the trail, following the scent, following the sight, knowing your game, knowing your prey. You're able to chart out a path and follow where they go. Based off of the sight of the tracks, they seem fairly fresh, as if they had happened possibly earlier this morning, maybe before dawn. Likely the game heading to bed for the evening, or possibly getting their last meal before they do settle down for the day. As you follow the game trail, you go further into the woods, probably taking another hour or so to follow behind it until you come upon a stream that runs through. You can hear the burbling or bubbling of the water, the gurgling of the water running down the stream bed across the rocks. This is where the trail stops, clearly where they stopped to take a drink, before they redirect and follow the stream along the edge of it. Eventually, the tracks go into the water itself as you see the stream has become more shallow and easier to cross point. The tracks in the center are now lost. You can go to the other side and try to reestablish them if you would like, but that will require another roll.
Yeah, he'll kind of put his nose close to the dirt and then lift his nose up almost into the air, trying to pick up where the scent had led off to. Five successes.
5 successes. Stronger than before. Funny enough, when the scent usually grows weaker on the opposite side, you see that you are able to pick up a stronger scent, and from the smell of it, there are more of them. Perhaps others that were already on this side that join in with this particular individual deer that you've been following. Looking to the ground, you can see that the prints, the footprints, the hoof prints, have been a little bit more mussied up, as if multiple sets of hoof prints have pounded into the ground, making it hard to pick out a specific individual without further study. Based off of the numbers at this point, you guess there would be about 5, and 2 of the sets of prints look smaller than the others. Following behind them, you go through the deeper thicket, going along until you get into the deepest part of the woods, where the sun has less and less presence through the canopy, where it appears to grow darker even in the mid to late morning sky. Shadows cast a wide net over the area, and you find yourself in the very, very deep thicket. As you move forward, both of you roll me wits and awareness checks. Four successes each. Up ahead, in probably, I would say, 300 yards ahead, you see movement going through the trees, as you see several of 3 large deer and 2 smaller deer making their way through the woods. What's your plan?
Look over to Joseph, and then kind of like nose point to the 2 smaller ones. And then Aiden will circle right and kind of gesture to Joseph to circle to the left side.
Yep,
Okay.
I'll circle left.
Both of you roll me a dexterity and stealth as you try to circle around, approaching closer to the site.
Do we get a bonus for Lupus?
Yes, you get the 2 dice bonus.
Okay.
Another 4.
3.
As you get closer, coming upon the deer, they don't seem to have noticed your approach. Both of you closing in the gap surrounding the 5 deer in front of you. You find a good point to stalk down low, letting more of the foliage cover over you, obscuring your presence. And just as you're getting ready to move in, a loud crack breaks through the air. 4 of the deer go running, but one of them falls. As the gunshot hits the deer, sending it toppling over. Roll me a wits and awareness again, however, I will ask for a -1 on your dice pools because the unexpected gunshot has sent a ringing in your ears. Okay, with 3 successes apiece, probably another 150 yards on the opposite side of where you were approaching from, you hear a little bit of hooting and hollering as 2 male voices celebrate the successful shot on the deer. Now, this is a state park. This is not a place where legal hunting can take place. So both of you take an additional rage.
And it's out of season.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also like you both to make a composure and resolve check.
Any penalties from backstory?
I would say, yeah, probably. Let's take a
Okay.
-1 on that.
Okay. Can I burn a will?
You could build in a willpower, yeah. Okay. Aiden, with absolute no hesitation, your target has changed. Forget the deer. The hunters are your target now, as you, almost like a flash, go charging off into the woods. Joseph, you are able to keep your ground, but you do notice Aiden taking off in that direction.
I will go after Aiden.
Okay, roll me a dexterity and athletics, both of you, as you are running through the woods now, not being as careful as you were before, and there's a lot of roots and vines and other hazards that could stand between you on the way.
I'm going to spend a willpower.
Okay.
That's 6 with the crit.
I got 3.
Okay. Joseph, you are slowed down as you're making your way through. You're not tripping, you're not stumbling, but you are having to be a lot more careful as you are of right mind and just trying to keep up with Aiden as best as possible. He quickly gets far, far ahead of you. Aiden, you come up upon where these 2 hunters are currently at. You can see a cooler sitting next to them that's got the lid open. It looks like they are men dressed in camouflage, but no orange safety vests or anything like that. One of them has a rifle that they've kind of got propped up on their shoulder. The other one is drinking a beer as you make your way up. You are currently frenzied, so you have a rage of 5, and you must attack.
Yep.
Do you wish to stay in this form, or do you wish to shift before the attack?
With the current things going through his mind, he'd probably go to Hispo, trying to be as big and menacing as he can, but not trying to go full bore Kratos, just to the big Hispo form.
All right, go ahead and give me a rage check.
We're good to go.
Okay. So as you approach the hunters, your form grows larger and thicker, your muscles filling out, your size growing significantly larger until you are easily your full body exceeding the size of the hunters that you approach. Go ahead and make an attack for me, strength and brawl, as you launch yourself towards one of the hunters.
Six.
Okay. So immediately you engulf this hunter with your form, just tackling them to the ground, jaws outstretched, grabbing on, your claws sinking into their side as you bring them down to the earth. As they were unsuspecting, the difficulty was 1, and almost immediately with your first pounce, you kill the first hunter. Outright, immediately. As you go to whirl around to the other one, they have noticed you now and are desperately falling back on the ground, backing up, reaching over towards another rifle that seems to be leaned up against the cooler, trying to grab for it. They grab the rifle as you are pounced on top of their hunter friends, starting to tear them apart before you wheel around. Joseph, you have entered the scene by this point. Everyone state their intentions. Now, you did kill the hunter that had shot the deer, so I will say you can make another composure and resolve check to stop yourself from frenzying.
I'd like to.
Okay.
Still with the -1, though?
No, not at this point. No, you've killed the one that was responsible.
Okay. 3.
3 successes. You have regained control of yourself. You are still in your Hispo form, and there is still a present threat, but you can decide how to handle it now.
Going to, he said he's reaching for the rifle?
He has gotten a hand on the rifle and is wheeling it around.
Okay. I'm going to do a called shot. I'm going to try and bite towards the rifle and yank it out of his hands.
Okay. That'll be a -2 success on your roll, but you can roll a strength and brawl to do so. Joseph, what's your intention?
I'm going to the cooler. I'm going to mangle all of the stuff they have around where they were stationed, the chairs, the cooler, and just wreck that stuff.
Okay.
I'm thinking bear attack. I'm going to make it look like a bear attack.
Okay, give me a wits and survival. Doing the damage won't be hard, but making it look like something that it isn't is where it gets a little bit more complicated. You were trying to slightly use a little bit of subterfuge, a little bit of your knowledge here to try and dress up the scene as something else. Aiden, what'd you get? 4 successes?
That's with the -2.
That's after the 2 penalty?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You are able to grab the rifle and wrench it free from the hands of the hunter. The hunter is now letting out a blood-curdling scream as he tries to back up and start scrambling his way backward from you.
Can I attempt a intimidation to try and get him out of here?
Sure. Joseph, what'd you get on your wits and
I got
survival?
2.
Okay. So you start tearing up the camp. You're not sure how thorough of a job you're doing, but you're starting to destroy their goods. Yes, go ahead and do a manipulation and intimidation. Although,
With the current state, would I get any bonus die with
I believe
currencies?
you do get a bonus from being in his spell. Let me double check that, though, really quick. Yeah, you know what? I'll give you an additional die bonus because you are larger than any wolf they've seen before.
2.
2 successes. They matched you, so they do not immediately go running. But what it looks like is that they are scrambling for something in their boot as they reach down and they pull out a knife and try to get back to their feet. Let's declare your intentions for the next round, both of you.
Yeah. Going to gonna bite at his hand.
Okay. His hand specifically?
Yeah.
The one with the knife?
Yep.
Okay, so it'll be another called shot. Joseph, what's your intention? You've knocked over the cooler, spilling the goods out. You've started clawing at and tearing up the fabric of what looks to be their camping chairs.
All right, since he's not leaving, I'm gonna wheel around and I don't want to attack, but I want to like harass him, menace him in a way that would make it easier for Aiden to fight.
So you want to distract almost?
Yeah, I think distract would be a good way.
Okay. Then go ahead and give me a manipulation and intimidation. Now you're just in your regular lupus form, so there will be no advantage.
Still lupus, yeah.
Here. Yeah.
That's a horrible roll, but okay. I got nada.
Okay, so with 3 successes, you go to bite at his arm. However, he's able to pull his arm back away from you, and you do end up biting onto his leg, but he also is able to bring down the knife and stab into the side of you, doing 1 point of superficial damage.
All right, so I'm on his leg.
You are on his leg.
Gonna bear down and shake.
Okay. So give me one more strength and brawl check. Joseph, what's your intention?
For this round, I'm gonna lunge at him.
Okay.
I'm gonna paw. I'm not gonna bite him, just lunge at him.
Give me a strength and brawl yourself as you go to
Can do.
Throw your claws at him. Okay. So as you pounce into him, Joseph, digging your claws into his chest, you push him down to the ground as Aiden stays on top of his leg and starts wrenching and like shaking. Aiden, you tear out a good chunk of flesh from his leg, and immediately blood starts spurting out of his leg as he lets out a scream, but then drops to the ground unconscious from the shock of it all. But the blood is now spurting out of his leg.
Aiden kind of look to Joseph and to the 2 bodies now here. And then kind of like tilt his head a little bit.
Joseph will nudge back to the deer. And then grunt in like wolf speak. Bears are terrible.
And Aiden will nod in agreement.
Joseph, give me a intelligence and medicine check.
Sure thing. 5 successes.
This man's gonna die, undoubtedly. Whatever he tore open was probably a very vital artery, and the bleeding out is going to happen quickly if they don't get medical attention soon. So, both of you are heading back towards the deer. Aiden, are you staying in your current form?
No. Going to go back into lupus.
Okay. So shifting back into lupus, I would say your rage goes down to 1, despite the fact that you weren't in Krynos and you are no longer frenzying. Calm washes over you. You have successfully killed the cause of your stress, plus a little extra. But you make your way across into the woods where you find the downed deer does not seem to be moving at all. But it is fresh. And you know that consuming this deer would satisfy the wind. But also, consuming the hunter would satisfy the wind as well. And that you did kill.
Aiden will kind of sit in his lupus form by the deer, just kind of look down at it, and then look at the poacher that had just done this.
Joseph is going to walk around between the hunter, where the hunters were, and Aiden, and just like chuff and shake his head.
Joseph, give me a charisma and persuasion. Aiden, give me a wits and insight.
Could I make an argument for etiquette since I'm invoking the litany?
Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable.
One.
Aiden, you really want that hunter. This deer is not a satisfying kill for you. You didn't even get to kill it. This would be a beggar's meal for you. If this were a survival situation where there were no other choice other than to displease your spirit, maybe, but there is a fresh, hot kill that was yours. Plus, they probably deserve it.
Kind of look at Joseph and then kind of like look past him, just kind of ignoring what he'd been saying, and look to the deer.
I'll let you make one more composure and resolve check to try and stop yourself from going there, but it is at a -1.
Yeah.
The -1 being from the tie on the etiquette check.
3.
You can choose. You're not doing it because Joseph told you to or tried to shrug you off. You are making the choice in this moment.
He'll kind of he'll step to the side and start walking towards the hunter, but then as he gets closer, he starts hearing Duncan's voice going over the litany, and then a louder voice from Aspen in his head is going over and over it as he gets up to the hunter itself, and then turns around and kicks dirt up onto him and walks back to the deer.
Okay. Returning to the deer. Again, it's not a satisfying meal. There's a part of you that does not care for eating this way. You are the hunter. You are not the scavenger. But as you consume the necessary amount from the hunt, you feel that your patron, your tribe's patron, has been satisfied. Enough.
As we walked over to the deer, Joseph would have given a respectful nudge to Aiden about the chin, and then shared the meal.
He would have given a light huff, like he's not happy about his decision, but he would accept it.
So after you consume your meal with full bellies, what's your next move?
I'm gonna go dip in the stream to clean off because we're probably a little messy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Aiden, you also do still have a stab wound in your side,
Tis but
but
the
you
flesh
can't
wound.
regenerate in this form.
Yeah, he'll make his way over to that stream that's not too far. Either kind of just dip into where that deeper point was, just kind of brush off, kind of look and see what's around. Kind of do a wits and awareness to see what's in the area.
Sure.
Two.
Doesn't appear to be anything else around currently. The deer definitely got frightened off by the rifle fire, and they are probably a far distance from here by now. But there doesn't seem to be any other onlookers or anything nearby.
Yeah, with that, he'll do the necessary shifting in order to heal that.
All right, roll me a rage check to shift into the proper form, and then another rage check to heal the superficial damage.
We're good.
Okay. So you made the shift and everything successfully?
Yep.
Okay. So shifting back into Hispo, you focus on the tissue going back together as you enact your natural healing to cover up the wound, using the water to help clean it out and wash the blood off of your fur. You are satisfied with the effects, and you are back. You can remove the one superficial damage before shifting back into lupus form. What now?
Kind of once he's all healed up, he'll go over to Joseph and look to the scene that's there, and kind of like tilt his head. Like, what now?
I'll shift into Hamid form real quick.
Okay.
Since we're a little bit away, so I can get a few more complicated thoughts out. No one saw anything. If we tamper with it too much with these hands, it'll look fishy. Right now, it probably looks like a bear attack or a wild animal attack, and some poachers who were where they didn't belong, which the DNR would sell as, this is why we tell you not to go poaching. It's unfortunate. It is a mess, but I don't know that we can do much to clean it up at the moment. That wouldn't make it worse.
Aiden kind of looks at you with a satisfied look, and just looks back to the trail.
Yep, I'll step forward and go back into lupus.
We'll start making our way back.
Go ahead and roll me a dexterity and stealth, both of you, as you make your way closer and closer towards the actual civilization. Okay. So as you're making your way through the woods, you become a little bit more careless in your steps as you are getting closer and closer to the trail. Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness.
I got 4.
One. I don't have a whole lot of willpower to really be just thrown away.
Aiden, you don't see it, but Joseph, you do. Off in the woods, off the trail, but further in the woods, you see a young man in his late teens, early 20s, wearing what looks to be a USF windbreaker with a bag and a camera in his hands. African American, short black hair, looking over in your direction from behind a tree with a big smile on his face.
I'll give a little chuff and
Aiden, take a
Aiden,
look.
following his gaze, you see Terrence alone by the tree. He looks like he has his camera up and is taking a few shots while smiling and looking over in your direction.
Aiden, with an uncontrollable tail wag, will start slowly kind of nudge Joseph and start walking towards Terrence.
As you get closer to Terrence, you see he stashes his camera away and starts digging into his backpack, pulling out what looks to be a sandwich that is already cut up into small bits. And he calls over, "Hey! Been looking for you. Didn't know you'd bring a friend, though. I hope this will be enough." And he starts pulling out the cut up sandwich and starts holding it out in your general direction.
Walk up slowly to Terrence's hand and look back to Joseph and then back to the sandwich and slowly take it from his hand.
I'll linger behind Aiden as a new wolf would, and then slowly approach.
Go ahead and give me a manipulation and animal ken, Joseph, as you are trying to appear.
Am I still at 2 rage or did I drop 2?
I'd say drop to 1.
Okay, cool.
The problem was solved. Maybe not in the way you'd hoped, but it was solved. Or maybe in the way you hoped.
That's 1.
It's awkward. You're trying not to give into your human impulses of just being like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, he told me it's cool. I know who you are. So you try to be wolf in nature, but you're kind of clumsy about doing it as you move up to take the bit of sandwich from Terrence. As you're eating out of his hand, Aiden, he reaches up to give you a scratch behind the ears, cautiously at first, but then eventually just leaning in to scratch behind your head is with a familiarity.
Yeah, at first you kind of want to pull away out of just instinct, but then kind of lean into it a little bit.
I am so glad you're here. I've been out here, stop by at least once a day just to see if I can find you, and I was actually just headed back to our spot. Boy, it's been weird lately.
I kind of just tilt his head back and forth, just looking at him.
I swear, I think you understand me. Okay, so he settles back down and sits at the base of the tree and pulls out another piece of the sandwich to feed both of you while he eats the other half of the sandwich. So I volunteer at the zoo, right? Working with the red wolves, and there's been some new volunteers lately. Met a really, really cool guy named Aiden. He came with a friend. He's a new volunteer. Really friendly. I think he's one of the good ones. Well, I don't know. I came out here with Kyle a couple of times, and he was fine. I mean, he enjoyed being out in the woods. I thought he could use a breath of fresh air. He's been really stressed with school and everything lately. Just seemed really grumpy, and I thought taking him for a walk would be good. So I got out of class yesterday, and I was coming to meet up with him to go volunteering, and he was gone. I got back to our room, and somebody was there. They said they were his brother and that they were helping move him out, that he had gotten really sick and had to go home. So they were packing up his things and just moving him out of the room, that he was dropping out of school. Didn't make a lot of sense, but I suppose these things never do. I'm kind of bummed out because I really thought he'd be a good friend, and I was really enjoying spending time with him, and it was just nice not to be alone again. But I'm not alone because I got you, right? Scratches your ear again.
Aiden will kind of like drop down to all four, like just laying down. And then if he has his foot out, he'll kind of like rest his chin on his foot.
Man, if I could, I'd just come camp out here with you guys. Anyway, they finished moving him out. Now I got the room to myself, which is good, I guess. Some space to spread out, but don't have a lot of people I can talk to. Maybe I'll just do more volunteering or something. It was just nice to have a roommate.
Aiden will look to Joseph with a perplexed look on his face. Kind of like tilt his head, almost like, now?
So Joseph will put his head down in deference and look back up, because it's your call.
He'll turn and kind of sit up, kind of push himself up and do kind of the dog stretch, and then sit and then look Terrence dead in the eye.
Give me another wits and awareness before you do something you might regret.
Okay.
Because I will remind you, you are not far from the trail. You are not far from...
Appreciate it, yeah.
Can I do the same thing?
Yes.
3.
Four.
There's nobody on the trail currently, but you are within sight of the trail, maybe 50 or so yards away from it. You've got some cover, so it is a little bit secluded, which is why you were comfortable approaching, but there is a potential that somebody with enough awareness could see out here from the trail itself, from the actual walking trail.
I'll nod to Aiden and gesture further into the woods.
Aiden will stand up and start walking into the woods a little bit, and then look back to Terrence, and then into the woods, and then back to Terrence.
Give me a charisma and persuasion, but I'm going to give you a -2 on this one because he is not Wolf. He is a human, as far as he knows, and he might not be able to determine what it is you're trying to.
With a -2, it's an automatic goose egg.
Well, you can roll 1 dice.
I'll help.
He furrows his brow a little bit, then looks back towards the trail, looking around. Okay. He grabs up his bag and puts it up on his shoulder and starts to follow you.
I'm going to take him away from the scene.
Okay.
Pretty deep into the woods, another kind of smaller hunting ground area. It's where some of the other critters are at. And when we get to the overall clearing, he'll look around, see where he's at, make sure no one's there, and then take a seat and then look Terrence in the eyes.
Here? Well, what do you want me to do?
Aiden will stand up and kind of like turn, like, and then turn his back to him, like almost like spin.
Okay. You can tell that he's starting to get a little bit nervous.
Joseph's going to, nudge and like go nudge him and go behind him to like pull his attention away from Aiden for a second, and then sit down and give him like puppy eyes. It's okay.
Okay.
And then he'll lay down to show he's completely at rest.
Terrence turns his back to Aiden.
Once his back is to him, he'll do just kind of a really deep dog breath and just let out a nice pant, and then go into his Hamid form.
Okay. You make the transition. Fur melting away to skin, thankfully covered by clothes. Until you find yourself kneeled with your hands on the ground, staring at the back of Terrence. The sensations grow a little bit less sharp. In Hamid form, you're not nearly as aware as you'd like to be, as you are comfortable with, but you find yourself looking at the back of Terrence, who is staring down at Joseph.
He'll look at him and then take some really deep breaths. He's nervous. He's trying to keep himself, as this is a whole new experience. And then just like, all right, turn around.
Joseph's wagging his tail.
Terrence slowly turns.
Hey, man.
He starts looking around you, as if he's searching for something that isn't there. But,
yeah, you know, kind of like...
You're a wolf trainer?
Yes and no. That's complicated. He'll gesture to Joseph.
I'll stand up into Hamid.
So behind that's my friend Joseph.
Hi. 3 deep breaths.
Take it easy. You got it. It's fine.
But that's he sort of stumbles away from both of you for a moment, and he eventually falls down onto his knees and puts his hands out in front of him and starts trying to like take deep breaths.
Slow and deep. Don't puke. You got this.
I'm dreaming. I have to be dreaming.
You're one of the good ones, kid.
But this can't be. This isn't a thing. Like,
it is though.
Tell he's kind of hyperventilating a little bit.
Aiden will kind of get down to him and put his hand on his shoulder and just kind of give him a light, friendly squeeze and just kind of hold him like, hey, I know that it's a hard thing to understand at first, but you know, kind of point to Joseph. That guy is one of the smartest people I know, and he can explain this a lot better than I can. But there's something about you that's special.
Aiden and Joseph, roll me a wits and occult.
I'm spending a willpower. That's a whopping 2.
Aiden. Something in the air grows really strong. His hyperventilating starts turning into panting. His panting starts turning into growling. And his clothes start to rip off of his body as he begins to shift. However, he shifts into lupus form and not Krynos form.
I'm jumping to Lupus.
Yep, going to Lupus.
Almost immediately, he starts taking off into the woods, leaving all of his belongings behind as he runs. Both of you go ahead and make stamina and athletics rolls for me as he is going lightning fast and recklessly into the woods. His fur is completely black from nose to tail. Both of you are able to keep up with him. He's still very new to this. He seems to be going based off of instinct alone as he runs, and he's not running with any particular purpose. It's not like he's running away from you, and he's not running towards anything specifically, but he runs, and he runs, and he runs. Eventually getting to a clearing near the same river that you guys had crossed earlier, he starts slowing down as his pants are very heavy and almost out of breath. He pauses at the water, looking down, cocking his head at the reflection that he sees in the surface of the water, looking back at him. Then slowly turns to look behind him at the two of you.
Tails up, wagging.
Yep, tails up, ears up.
He plops his butt down on the ground, then raises his head up and lets out a howl.
Howl with him.
How?
And now we're going to transition. Aspen. The last 2 days have been so unkind. The days before it were successful, a little bit stressful, but you're not sure that you can really savor the victory that was getting ownership of the property. I would say for the last at least 2 days, you've probably stayed in bed, not moving, barely eating. Every day, Artie comes to check on you and ask if you're ready to talk. You don't react. How are you feeling?
She's got a lot on her mind, so heartbroken because she lost one of her best friends. Kind of moving in between these spaces of heartbreak and just kind of numb sufferance, not really knowing how to properly deal with this one right after, like, Ryder.
It's the afternoon of the third day since you found out the news. Artie comes and sits down on the bed next to you. He reaches out and strokes your hair, pushing it back, almost combing the tangled mess of bedhead that you've had. He grabs a washcloth that's already wet and wipes the warm washcloth across your cheeks, washing off the tears. This has been a routine every few hours, it seems, since you got home. I'm so sorry, Aspen.
It's okay.
Don't lie to me.
really, really not okay.
No, it's not. And that's okay that it's not okay. It's right that it's not okay. What can I do for you?
I don't know. Just really sick of losing people.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like deja vu. Unfortunately, it's Florida, and the risk of these things is higher than anywhere else. Been trying to keep tabs on any updates coming out of the investigation or the morgue, and they're just ruling it an accident. Most likely, some driver cut her off and she veered, or some animal ran into the road. I don't even know.
Can't be a coincidence.
I thought that too. Considering everything we've been through, considering the timing of it. I'm gonna keep looking. Always. I will do anything for you. And I'm gonna believe that this wasn't a coincidence, that this wasn't an accident, because I have all the reason in the world not to believe. But if I can't find anything, after enough time, we might just have to consider that these things happen, and that this isn't any kind of supernatural juju, it's just bad luck. But I believe you, and I believe your instincts, and if you think there's something weird here, I will look harder than ever before, but
I have to believe that it's not a coincidence.
it's not a coincidence, and I'll find something.
Because the alternatives that I'm just bad luck.
You, and he cups your cheeks as he puts down the washcloth. You are not bad luck. If anything, you've made me the luckiest guy in the world. This is one of the hardest parts of being what we are. And if this is some fucking leech nonsense, we will make them pay 10 times over for what they've done. And even if it's not, we're going to make them pay anyway.
Yeah.
We're here for you. All of us. I'm here for you.
I know. Thank you. You guys are kind of all I have left here.
For now. After we kill the fuck out of Mary and whoever else is holding her leash, when we get our happily ever after, who knows, maybe there will be more.
Yeah. But for now, I just have to make sure you guys stay safe.
This isn't your fault. It's not your fault. Bad people do bad things, regardless of what provokes them. And leeches are even worse than them.
So what do we do?
You get rest, eat something, and be the leader you have to be. I will get to the bottom of this. And when I have something, I'll bring it to you, I promise.
I know you will. But I feel like we're at an impasse. If it is them, if it really, really is them, we've got to do something.
Get rid of the bane. We finish the cairn. And then we go on the hunt. That's what we do.
Okay. What about Terrence?
Aiden taught you. He can teach Terrence. And from what it sounds like, he's a good kid. He'll probably pick up quickly. But we give him the choice to stay or to go learn somewhere else. He shouldn't have to fight a fight that he doesn't want to fight if he doesn't want to. Or if he doesn't think he's ready.
I agree. I just don't want him. I want to keep him safe too.
You will.
Really, really tired of losing people already.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Me too. But I'm not going to lose you, and you're not going to lose me. And we're not going to lose any of the others.
Yeah, because I don't want to end up like Eliza.
You won't. Because I think you're stronger than Eliza. You're the strongest one out of all of us.
I'll pretend like I believe you.
That's a good start. Got a message from Jester. She said she got some stuff from the bar. So hopefully we can learn some things so that we're going to be better prepared than anyone before us, so that we're going to win.
We have to.
We have to. They're holding services for Rachel this week. I leave it up to you, but I'm not sure that we should go. Because if this is some kind of foul play, that's where they'll expect us. But maybe we can do something afterwards. But I leave it up to you.
No, you're right. We can't do it. Maybe, that moot I was talking about, silly little thing for Ryder. We could do that. We could make sure everybody's honored.
And maybe she'll get a plot at the cemetery.
That'd be nice.
Okay. Well,
You know what I'm really sick of, though?
what?
I'm so sick of crying all the time.
Yeah. He reaches up the sleeve of his hoodie and wipes your eyes and then holds it up to your nose. Do it.
That's gross, Artie. No.
He then reaches for a tissue, which is easily within reach, and holds it out for you.
That's better, yeah.
We're gonna get through this. And like I said, we'll make them pay.
Yeah, and I have you guys. I have you.
Always.
And I have the others, so it'll be okay.
They're gonna be worried about you. Don't be afraid to talk to them, even Jester. She's getting better.
She looks great.
If she can do it, you can do it.
Can't be a hypocrite, right? I tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to get out of bed, and I'm going to get my laptop, and you're going to help me sign up for school.
Sounds great. Before we do all that, I love you, you know.
Funny thing is, pretty sure I found the meaning. I love you too.
And for the first time in several days, what felt like an eternity, you get up. You wash up. You get dressed in something other than pajamas. And you go to enlist in school. We transition one more time to an office building in downtown Tampa. We are in a very familiar looking office in the offices of Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman. Sitting at the desk, hair slicked back, wearing a very, very expensive suit, sits Edward Bateman. He looks down at a piece of paper on the desk and then looks up at Bloody Mary, who stands across the desk from him. So this is what you got. She smiles. Aye. Pretty good timing considering the conditions out there. He looks down at the deed of ownership to Hart and Associates. And that is where we're going to end our story for tonight. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you so much to everybody who's been watching at home. Stay up on St. Pete by Night. Go follow all the social media down below. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got a little bit of a programming note. This week on Thursday, we have the last episode of Don't Get Caught, and then they are going on break for 3 weeks. So this will be the last episode, but they will be returning in June, so stay tuned to the schedule for that. On Friday, we continue the story of What the Hell Is That? Our Hunter the Reckoning Chronicle. On Saturday, we have a very, very special After Dark with the Burger Krieg, who you may have known from YouTube as well as other social media. He's going to come by and talk to us about his love of the World of Darkness and how he got into all of that. And then on Sunday, there is no Bloody Strings because they are also on break for 2 weeks, but they will be back in 2 weeks' time. Stay posted to the schedule for that. Then we'll be back next Tuesday with the next episode of Rage Across Tampa. So you might see a little bit of an interruption to our regularly scheduled programming, but don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. We have plenty of amazing, amazing World of Darkness content for you. So stay tuned to us. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. And we are going to go ahead and raid Mr. Mephisto after our credits here tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys all next time. Have a good night, everyone.